Sponsorem programu jest Tauron, sprzedawca instalacji fotowoltaicznych.
Hello and welcome to Güstrow, Germany. We are at the halfway point in the 2024 TAURON Speedway European Championship Series. 2 rounds behind us, 2 more rounds ahead, including the one tonight in Güstrow, Germany. I am joined by Sam Ermolenko, 1993 world champion, and David Rowe. Hello, guys.
Hiya.
Hi, Sam. I'm sure going back to Germany brings some good memories. It's been 31 years, huh?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 31 years ago when I was last here in the World Championship. And one of the photographers brought me a catalog of photographs from that ancient time. So it was nice to look back at a few of them.
David, Speedway Euro Championship is here in Güstrow for the 9th time. How many times have you been here?
I think this is our 7th time here. Fantastic venue, always good racing. Quite often we get some drama, surprise winner maybe. So really exciting. The weather is perfect. We should be in for a great night.
I'll be honest with you, this is definitely top 3 track when it comes to the places I've visited in my Speedway journey. Some great racing lines, great motions, and plenty of things that happen here on this track, which is kind of surprising considering the size of the track, isn't it, Sam?
I think it's more the shape of the track doesn't give any one rider an advantage. I think the racing lines kind of appear as the track starts either getting better or deteriorating. And today with the good weather, we definitely got probably going to be a consistent track. Might get a little dry, but then they'll throw water on it, and now throw another element to the guys thinking about what they do on the track.
One of the reasons this is such a different venue than any other is the track itself and the color of the material. Do you know why is it so black? How does it change and affect the racing?
I was saying today that years and years ago, you know, this track is located in the old Iron Curtain area of East Germany, and as a rider, whenever we would get an invitation to come here, you'd kind of say, yeah, I'll avoid it because of the black dirt and it's such a round track. But then whenever I came here and rode, I found the uniqueness of that, you know, and I found, wow, you can actually win here if you know what to do, and the big lines can appear and the little lines can appear. I don't know the reason why it's got the black dirt, but it's always been one of those tracks that now is on an international scene, which is pretty good.
David, but I think the most unique thing about Güstrow is the finish line and the place where it's located on track. It's at the beginning of the straight, not in the middle. For a commentator, I'm sure it's very unique as well, because usually you get, what, 2 or 3 seconds before the turn number 1, but here it's a really long build-up for the first turn.
Build-up to the first turn is long, but also such a quick exit from turn 4, and quite often people will make a last move on the final bend, take the lead over the finish line. It doesn't matter where they are after that. The finish line is so early, you can do it. You've also got to watch out for the inner curve here. You've seen before riders being excluded for putting both wheels over the inside. They're definitely trying to hold that inside line, and sometimes you can go too far. Remember last year, I think it was Lebedev's almost went over. They had to send somebody out there to actually look at the line. It was so close, so we often see that as well here.
Let's talk about the gates as well, because I looked at the statistics from last year and the year before, and gates C and D, on the outsides, are definitely better, producing 30 to 40% of all points in the meeting. So it's a really strong advantage throughout the night to start from gate 3 or 4.
That was interesting, we came here in the early years, quite often it was gate 1 and 4, so were the better ones, and you're absolutely right, then it became 3 and 4. I think the track surface changed a bit, maybe 2 or 3 years ago they brought some different material in, and whether that's helped the way it's prepared, and gate 3 is somehow better now, I don't know, but that's definitely been the case the last time we've been here.
Why is that, Sam?
Well, I think the material itself packs up against the fence, and the guy on gate 4 has got that opportunity to drag some of that dirt that berms up between the fence and the track over his line, and he just might be able to find that little extra grip. Gate 3 is kind of the place where everybody races over it. Why, you know, gates 1 and gates 2 sometimes are the graveyards of the track, I don't know that. It's the shortest way around on the inside, but you know, that outside gate, I think that advantage might be getting to that dirt that's just piled up there.
Let's put track aside. David, let's talk about Güstrow itself. I think there is something very, very special about this place. Like we said before, it produces some great racing, and we are going to see great names here in the Speedway world, but at the same time, it's a great contrast with what we usually see in places like Cardiff or Warsaw. People here are really connected to the stadium itself. They bring their own beach chairs. They arrive here 2 or 3 hours. It's a whole different vibe, let's use that word.
And this is their big event of the year. The Grand Prix locally in Tetros now moved to Lansford this year. So this has been their big meeting, and obviously they have the weather for it as well. So we're looking today at the biggest crowd here for a number of years for a Speedway Euro Championship round. We have a strong lineup this year. We've seen that in the first 2 rounds. So really we should be able to see some great racing.
And the crowd is very enthusiastic here as well. They appreciate every move on track and every overtaking. Sam, what's crucial here, because I don't know if you'll agree with me, but the track itself is very narrow. It's pretty short, 298 meters only, but the straights are pretty long, which gives the riders opportunity to gain speed. So you produce the speed, but then you need the ability to make quick decisions on the corner.
It's one of those tracks which is very unique, because you're never really getting the bike in a straight line to get all the traction on the back wheel going, to build your speed up. You're constantly sliding, and that's the uniqueness of this kind of a track. Is it appears short, even though it's wide in the corners. As far as I wouldn't say wide in the corners, but you're always going in a big circle, and that big circle just makes it that much unique, and it's different than the rest of the track. So that makes it interesting for everybody.
Let's talk about the psychological aspect of it. When you race here for the first time, does the fence appear to come at you a little bit faster than normally?
You know what? The boys are out there right now behind us, and they're getting some laps in. And I think once they've been on the track and figured that out, I think, like David already mentioned, that inside line, you know, they tend to turn the bike, and sometimes they might be coming up to a rider and have to turn a little bit more. Next thing they know, they're on the line, and they got to straighten the bike out. And if they're on the outside, this dark dirt sometimes, if it appears to the fence, you kind of misjudge where in the heck the fence is, and you go a little bit wider. And we've seen both of that. We've seen guys go too wide and guys go too short.
Absolutely. I think we covered Güstrow enough itself. Let's talk about a series, but before we do that, let's watch a short clip about the top 5 riders, the main contenders for the Speedway European Championship title. Andrzej Lebedev and Kacper Worena both tied at 24 points at halfway through the series. Stellar performance by Andrzej Lebedev in Hungary during the round 1 in Debrecen, but then not a not even a decent round, would you agree, in Grudziądz? He underperformed in round number 2.
He had a tough meeting, or a tough middle part of the meeting, and then rescued it with some points towards the end, so he did pick up 7 points. It could have been worse. The fact that he was so good in the first round means he maintains that situation, but everyone is now queuing up behind him, where he's got Kasper Ruina level with him, and you saw the top 5 there on the graphic, and you can also throw in Maciej Janowski also on 19 points. So to have 6 riders covered by 5 points, it's anyone's series. Lebedev, of course, went well here last year. Look back at last year's meeting here, was really the meeting where he really came back, if you like, into contention and made the rostrum. So I think he'll come here with some confidence, but he knows one slip tonight, everybody else is chasing hard.
There's a few riders, including Maciej Janowski, who will race here for the very first time in their lives, and then there are riders like Andrzej Lebedev, Janusz Kołodziej, Kacper Woryna, Piotr Pawlicki, who were here many times in the SEC series. Is it really an advantage, or what would you say to Maciej Janowski before his first race?
Oh, I'd give him really good advice, and it is that kind of a track. You could lose your way very easily. If you've not had that experience, I tell you what, if he comes out on top tonight, fair play to him, because you need the experience, I think, around this racetrack, especially with the quality of riders in the SEC series that have had good meetings here. And even some of the best guys have bad meetings here, don't they? So even for the best guys, it's hard to get this track dialed in.
One of those guys was Leon Madsen last year.
Yep.
Well, actually, he finished second, so it wasn't a bad season, but Güstrow definitely didn't go his way, David.
Well, Güstrow was the meeting where he lost his title chances. He had a terrible meeting in Güstrow. Obviously, we've said for a number of years Leon Madsen has never won on this track, and that's still true. He has finished second here 3 times, so he does know the way around here. For some reason, he had an awful meeting here last year. Then, of course, he had a bad one in Hungary, the first meeting of this season. But then how good was he in the last round in Grudziądz? And I think that was the meeting again where he said, look, guys, I'm still here, I haven't gone, and he was making a statement, I think, for reasons on track and off track, for what happened, clearly a very public demonstration after the meeting as to what he'd been going through in his life. He is riding contention. I know he had a bad one here last year. There's no reason why he won't score heavily and be up towards the top of the standings tonight.
He didn't score a single point in his first race of the night in Grudziądz, but then made a very strong comeback, including the extra heat and obviously the final. But what about Leon Madsen here in Güstrow? What do you think, Sam, is the reason that he never won here? You look at Leon Madsen, and he's capable of doing plenty of things on plenty of tracks and winning when no one expects him to win. But why not in Güstrow?
Yeah, I just asked him. I did have a word with him. How's it going? He says, I feel really positive. Things are going good. I don't really have anything that I can say that's going to stop me from going good. So maybe it's his mindset in the past. Maybe, you know, you got to get... It's one of those things that even a racer sometimes can't figure that out.
Interesting. So obviously Leon Madsen is a 2-time European champion, but Mikkel Mikkelsen has 3 titles in the back. He didn't win a single round yet this season, but he's been very consistent, scoring 10 points in every round. Consistency is the name of the game, David?
It is. I mean, he's done that before, as you said, winning the championship, not winning a round, but always finishing second or third. I do think he'll need to score more than 10 points per round if he's going to win this year. That would give him 40. Normally you win with maybe 44, 45 points. I think he'll need to get a win or a second place or big points, 14 or 15 in one meeting. Again, he has never won here in Güstrow, but he's finished on the podium twice, a third place and a second place. I think there's a level more to come this year for Mikkel Mikkelsen, and we'll see whether tonight can be that night. Having such a good season in the Speedway Grand Prix, so we know he can perform at the top level, and maybe tonight will be his night.
I don't know if you noticed, but in Grudziądz, Mikkel Mikkelsen was very, very angry. I think at Leon Madsen, maybe at himself too. After the extra heat, he won the start, won the gates, and then Leon Madsen just smashed his hopes for the final. Do you think he'll remember that tonight?
I've also heard in other meetings that they've had some head-to-head conversations about tactics between each other. I think right now that's good fire. You know, good fire. So you don't want to miss this one tonight, because if Leon gets off to a good start and Mikkelsen gets off to a good start, we're going to see those guys clash. But there's a handful of other guys, as we already know by the overall points right now, that can steal points from them. So I think they're going to have a lot more enemies than each other.
Just for the context of Leon Madsen and Mikkel Mikkelsen fight in Polish League, one of the meetings, I think 3 or 4 weeks ago, Mikkel Mikkelsen's manager attempted to punch or just swung his hand at Leon Madsen. We don't really know what happened, but the manager of Mikkel Mikkelsen has been suspended in Polish Extraliga. David, do you think that actually what happened in the last 5 years in Speedway Euro Championship might have been growing between them two?
I think so. I think they keep it fairly quiet in public. They don't talk too much about it. It's an interesting situation that you have them as teammates in the Extraliga, and of course Czestochowa to finish 7th would have been a big disappointment for them with the team they have. So they will have expected more, and you can expand that into the Danish team itself. And I know that Madsen of course sat out the Speedway of Nations this year, but that team as a whole has not performed in the way that you would think with the quality of riders they have. So there's got to be some undercurrent of rivalry between them, and as you say, it's two riders who have really dominated this series in terms of overall wins. They are going to be desperate to be the first one to get 4 wins. Obviously now Madsen's only got 2 so far, and if you're at the top year after year contesting for a title, there's got to be some rivalry.
I see. Let's talk about the Polish riders, including Janusz Kołodziej. Obviously he missed out on the first round. That's why he's so low on the general standings at the moment, but 2023, 2022, he was the master of Güstrow track. Did you enjoy his racing here, Sam?
Yeah, I think you know, he's one of those riders that's an experienced rider. He'll know that he's got to work hard to get back into it, and he'll probably hope that some of the guys at the top of the chart right now might have a faulty event tonight. If he goes out there and performs as we're used to seeing him, that's his opportunity to grab a bunch of points.
But it's not just winning, David. I think Janusz Kołodziej has been here 5 times, and in the last 4 he made it to the final. So he's very consistent here on this track. Do you see any advantage Janusz Kołodziej has over other riders here in Güstrow?
Well, you go right back to 2014, 10 years ago, and he was in 3rd place in a meeting that featured people like Nicky Pedersen and Thomas Golob in that one as well. So he has been consistently good round here when we've seen other riders who aren't. So he has found the key to this circuit. And whilst winning the title itself is going to be beyond him after missing the first round, not having a great meeting in round 2, I still think he can score big points tonight and maybe put himself in the frame for that top 5.
We covered Janusz Kołodziej, who won the last 2 rounds here in Güstrow, but in 2021 Piotr Pawlicki was on top. Sam, is there any beef between you and Peter Pawlicki after his decision announced today?
Well, I think there was a little bit of a beef last time he performed for Birmingham because he just had the most worst night, but reflecting on that, he's got some issues, you know. He's had a couple of injuries. Start of the year he had an injury. He came off in Sweden and he banged his head, and it's just kind of confused him. He's just come over a virus with him. His whole family's had it. So, you know, you don't know what's really affecting him, but, you know, I kind of feel for him. He's such a good racer, and we've seen that last time we were racing for the SEC, but hopefully tonight he can get over all those issues and perform well. I
remember he had an engine failure 2 years ago here in Güstrow, and he said that was a specific engine that he'd like to use here. Is it a crashing thing when you learn that one of the engines that was prepared specially for that type of track is no longer in use? I know 2 years is a lot of time in Speedway.
I mean, when you're performing at his level, you got to be prepared. And I think every one of the riders in the pits today are prepared for all different style of tracks. And when it's on the calendar, you're coming to Güstrow, you might try to twist something a little bit different and see if it can help you. But I think Güstrow's got a little bit different. You know, issues more than that is equipment at the moment, but still, you know, he's a racer, and hopefully he can turn his year around and bounce back and salvage something out of it. I mean, he's sitting in a good position on the points, so why not?
He's 3rd in overall standings, only 1 point behind Kacper Buryna and Andrzej Lebedev. Let's talk about Kacper Buryna then. 24 points, same as Andrzej Lebedev. We know that he's hoping for a great night in Chorzów during round 4. On the night of 21st of September. That's going to be his home crowd. Do you think he might actually pull it off, David, this year? He might become a European champion.
He certainly has a chance. I think he's probably gone about it quietly this year. I mean, he picked up 15 points in Gruzov's last round, which was the most of anyone. So he got big points on the board there, level with Lebedev. We've seen him go well at Chorzów before. I think perhaps this round is the one that he needs to make sure he scores maybe 11 or 12 points, make sure he stays in touch. If he's within 2 or 3 of the top, heading to Chorzów, he will think he's got a great chance with that home crowd behind him on a track he's gone well at in the past. I think it's probably this one is the important one for him.
One last Polish rider, Maciej Janowski. I know you both watched him closely this year in the UK. Does he have what it takes to win here on his first appearance in Güstrow?
You know, I'd say years ago, I would say he's definitely a big favorite. but sometimes you don't know which Janowski shows up on the start line, you know, and it's just been that way for him, unfortunately. And it's if he puts it all together, he's definitely going to be a threat. And if he figures the track out quick, he'll do his best, I'm sure. But you know, if he has a couple of bad races and gets left behind, it'll probably be a struggle for him to pick it up. It's
been great to see him back in the UK this year, and as the season has gone on, his average, his point scoring has gone gradually up. I saw him at Kings Lynn on Thursday night, rides that track, nice big track, rides it really, really well. This was a tough one. I think again, if he scores decent points here and puts himself in touch, he could be in contention. He's got 19 so far. Didn't have a great one in the last round, so we'll need to improve on that, but certainly in contention, yeah.
So when we say about Maciej Janowski that he struggles, when we say that in recent years, we mostly focus on his equipment, because I think he's still one of the top riders in the world when it comes to his technique and positioning on the bike.
Funny you mentioned the bikes and stuff. I mean, I've learned that working with the Birmingham riders, and some of them really struggle to find the setup. And you know what I always remind them is the top guys in the world consistently are competing at the top level. And they keep a consistency on their equipment setup. So what is that recipe? It's a little bit unknown to me sometimes. I'm not that involved in the equipment, but it seems to be an excuse for a lot of the riders.
If you had to pick one, Sam, for Güstrow, what would it be? Technique aspect of racing or the equipment here for this type of track?
I think it's experience. And
experience,
I think. Because when you come here, that Janos proved that he knows it. I watched Mikkelsen on the laps here on the first round of the practice. He looked pretty quick. So obviously I think he's got something under his belt to help him go around here. And Janos has always been consistent. So if you're going to look back at it, I'd say the experience.
David, I don't know. Well, obviously it's not a very pleasure topic to talk about, but Václav Melik is not going to appear here tonight. Have you counted how many rounds of SEC have we had with the full lineup of 15 riders without any injuries? Because I cannot remember a single round.
We always seem to have a substitute. It's been unfortunate sometimes when we have people missing from the first round. They've qualified, they've got their right to be in. There was one time we had 4 riders missing from the first round, which is a shame. It's the nature of the Speedway season. Look at the Grand Prix, there's always the first and second substitutes are in. Max Frick has been in since Jason Doyle got injured. Unfortunately, it's a fact of Speedway. You have a lineup of 15 riders, plus the wild cards of 15 riders. They're all racing elsewhere in 3 or 4 different leagues. Unfortunately, crashes happen, and now we've seen Václav Melik, unfortunately, with a badly broken arm. So Jakob Torsell comes in this evening. I think it's just Speedway. I think it's very, very hard to maintain the same 15 riders over a series that runs over 3 or 4 months. That's very, very difficult.
Best of luck and speedy recovery for Václav Melik, but Jakob Torsell replacing him here tonight. Actually appeared in Debrecen during round 1, and he made it to the final. Actually, he finished 3rd. Did you enjoy his racing?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I have a bit of a soft spot for Torsell because he rode for Wolverhampton, and I got to watch him come over and break into the British League. And he's another one of those. I consider him a fragile rider. You know, when he's on form, he's going good, but it doesn't take much to come up and give him a nudge, and he unbalances his whole day, if you know what I mean. And to get that back, again, is that experience or what? That's something that I find he's just a bit fragile.
But I think it's a great season for Jakob Torsell this year in Sweden, in Denmark. Actually, if you're watching us in Denmark, you are going to see Jakob Torsell, Timo Lahti, and Rasmus Jensen, the 3 riders who just finished 1st in Speedway Ligaen with Holstead Tigers. Congratulations to all of them. Any other rider you'd like to mention with Rasmus Jensen maybe, or Timo Lahti?
Well, Timo Lahti, I think, is a threat, and so is Huckenbach, too, you know. I mean, coming on this kind of a track, he's one of those guys that can let the bike go. We had a word with him earlier. Seems pretty relaxed. He got 2nd in an individual meeting last night, so you might want to put him on the list as well.
Patrick Dudek, we want to see more from Patrick Dudek. 17 points so far. We think he should be a title contender, someone who can make fast starts and ride the track well. So I think Dudek should be in for a good night tonight.
And he's had some pretty good meetings here in the past.
Absolutely, as I say, he can ride the track, and it's about time Patrick Dudek won a round of this series. And on a circuit here such as this that does sometimes throw up first-time winners or new winners, then I'm not saying he will, but I think he should be up there, and he can again put himself in, because the final round, I'm sure we'll talk about in Horzów. Will we see a Polish winner overall? We have Polish riders involved. We have Farina, Pawlicki, Janowski, Dudek. They're all there or thereabouts, but can one of them really put them in a situation to actually win it? Dudek is coming from 7 or 8 points, but 7 points behind. But he has the potential, he has the ability. Let's see if he can put it all together.
Sam, one more thing. I don't need to ask this question in regards to any specific rider, but it's the end of August. Obviously, riders in Europe have been racing for, what, 5 months now?
Sure.
For some, the exhaustion of the season is just started to kicking in. For Janusz Kołodziej, he raced maybe like 10 meetings, obviously, and then on the other hand, you have Maciej Janowski, Piotr Pawlicki racing in Sweden, in the UK, in Poland. Maciej Janowski is also in the SGP. Is it really a factor at the end of August, or?
Well, here's a good scenario. I was talking to Norik earlier, the German rider, and he said to me, he goes, "I've been doing so many race meetings, I got more to come." And he goes, "If I had a day off, I wouldn't know what to do with it." You know what I mean? So those racers are geared up for this. You know what I mean? As long as they don't have any knocks, as long as they're healthy, I think they thrive for this. It's only 2.5 hours of their life. They got to focus, you know, and this is what they train for. I'm
actually really glad you mentioned Norik Bledorn. In honor of the host nation of Germany, we are going to see 2 German riders tonight. Norik Bledorn is obviously in the lineup for Speedway European Championship, but the wild card for tonight is Kevin Webel, and I'd like to mention that those are the 2 most recent German masters, as they say. So the best riders in Germany. Norik Bledorn won in 2022, and Kevin won in 2023 here in Güstrow. Do we expect much of them here tonight?
Well, Kevin rode here a couple of times as wild card 5 or 6 years ago. There was one meeting where he scored 8 points, so I would think he will be competitive. I think he's a rider who perhaps we expected to go higher at one stage of his career, and now he's in his mid-30s. Maybe that won't be the case, but certainly knows this track well. In this field, well, certainly there'll be riders in this field who he will think on this track he can outperform. So I'm not saying we're going to see a wild card victory here tonight, but I certainly think he'll be competitive and be in the mix, yes. And Norik is obviously a rising talent. Again, we've not seen quite the best of him in this series so far, but there will come a point where he does have a good meeting. I think he's improved as a rider this year. So again, on home territory, he could certainly cause a shock or two.
Sam, your top 3 for tonight?
Oh, it's got to be. Excuse me. It's got to be. I think it's the top 3, and the top. I think those are the guys that are going to be going
Lebedev's,
for it. Lebedev's, and definitely Lebedev's will probably be the one that might not get there. Looking at it, but definitely Vriona, I think, is going to go good, and there's no doubt that you know, some of the other riders like Leon Madsen's, as we said, I think he's probably the guy I'm looking at. He looks so good on practice that he's probably going to dominate tonight.
David, your top 3 prediction?
Yeah, I'm going to tip Leon Madsen to break his duck here and win for the first time in Güstrow, and I'm going to say that Lebedev's will be leading the series heading into the final round.
What about the 3rd place?
And 3rd, before the final round, will be Verina.
Verina
will be maybe 2 or 3 points behind. It'll be close. We're not going to see anyone running away with this series. We're so close now, so I think we're going to go to Hožov still with maybe 4 or 5 riders who can win the title, and Verina will be one of those.
Just a gentle reminder, in the Speedway European Championship Series, we count every single point gained on track. So, like David said, you might finish 3rd behind Lebedev's, but be 3 points behind, maybe 5 points behind throughout the whole night. So, definitely do not miss a single race tonight. If you're watching us in Romania or Latvia or Poland, you get to watch it in your on your TV. Make sure you find the right channel. If you'd like to purchase pay-per-view to watch us in the UK, Sweden, or actually anywhere in the world, make sure you follow the instructions down below in the link. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Samer Molenko, David Rowe.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Cheers.
Enjoy the meeting, Marcin Mushel. It was my pleasure, and we'll see you in less than an hour, I think. The meeting starts at 8 p.m. We'll see you there.
Sponsorem programu był Tauron, sprzedawca instalacji fotowoltaicznych. Sponsorem programu był Tauron, sprzedawca instalacji fotowoltaicznych.